Marcus slid the signed papers back across the table. Then he smiled. And my whole plan collapsed in real time.
The company was sold this morning to Apex Industries. $10 million. The papers you just signed mean absolutely nothing.
Ryan's phone rang. He answered. His face went white. I looked at my lawyers. I looked at my family. I looked at 12 years of marriage and 3 months of planning evaporate in 30 seconds. I thought I was the smart one. I thought I had thought of everything. Marcus hadn't said a word in 3 months. He didn't need to. Chapter 1. The Marriage. 12 years. I want you to understand what 12 years looks like from the inside before you judge any of the decisions I made. 12 years of watching Marcus run Sterling Solutions like he was allergic to ambition. The man had a company worth real money, real potential, and he treated it like a hobby. Missed opportunities everywhere. Clients walking out the door because he couldn't close a deal. Financial decisions that made me want to scream. I had a business degree. I understood marketing, client relations, growth strategy. Marcus understood spreadsheets. There's a difference. Ryan came into the picture about 3 years into the marriage. Marcus's business partner, the one with actual vision, actual drive, someone who could look at a company and see what it could become instead of just what it was. Ryan started coming over for dinner. We'd talk about the company, about the direction it was going, about how frustrating it was watching Marcus squander everything.
He doesn't see it.
Ryan said one evening, after Marcus had gone to bed.
The company could be worth $15 million with the right management. He's going to run it into the ground before he figures that out.
I know, I said.
Someone needs to make a move before it's too late.
We were talking about the company. At first. Chapter 2. The plan. One thing led to another. I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. Marcus and I hadn't been intimate in months. He'd come home, eat dinner in silence, disappear into the office, go to sleep. That's not a marriage. That's a roommate arrangement with shared finances. Ryan listened to me. Ryan saw me as a person, not just someone who managed the household and made sure the fridge was stocked. He asked what I thought. He remembered what I said. The first time it happened, we were working late at the kitchen table, going over company documents Marcus had left out. Marcus was traveling for a client meeting. One of the meetings Ryan had told me quietly was probably going to go nowhere. The house was empty, except for us.
You know you're the one who should be running this company, Ryan said. Not him. You.
Ryan.
I mean it. You see things he doesn't. You always have. I've watched you for 3 years, and I've never understood how he doesn't see what's right in front of him.
He was very close. The kitchen was very quiet. That night crossed a line that didn't uncross. Afterward, lying in the dark of a house that technically belonged to my marriage, I stared at the ceiling and felt something click into place. Not guilt, clarity.
We could actually fix this.
Ryan said quietly.
The company, everything, if we did it right.
Tell me what you're thinking. And that was how the plan began. Chapter 3. 3 months. We were careful. Marcus traveled frequently for client meetings. The meetings that Ryan documented weren't going well, building the paper trail we needed. When Marcus was away, Ryan came over. We worked on the strategy, the legal structure, the documentation. And we weren't only working.
He has no idea, Ryan said one afternoon, sitting at my kitchen table with company files spread between us. He said it with a kind of satisfaction I chose not to examine too closely.
Keep your voice down, I said.
Lily's at school. He's in meetings until 6. We have the whole afternoon.
He reached across the table. I looked at the company files. Then I closed them. We had the whole afternoon. The plan was genuinely good. I want to be clear about that. We'd consulted with Sterling and Associates, structured the ownership transfer carefully, documented Marcus's mismanagement thoroughly. Ryan had been copying client files to his personal computer for months, due diligence, backup documentation, everything we needed to demonstrate the pattern of poor decision-making. Divorce was inevitable anyway. The marriage had been over for years. This was just strategic timing.
Once you have the company,
Ryan said.
we run it together, properly. Within 18 months, we're looking at $15 million in valuation. Conservative estimate.
And Marcus?
Marcus gets his settlement and moves on. Honestly, we're doing him a favor. He was never cut out for this.
I believed that. I genuinely believed that. Chapter 4. The Friday. We scheduled it for a Friday. Marcus usually came home around 5. I'd have the lawyers there, the family for support, the paperwork ready. Clean and simple. He'd sign, we'd all move forward. Except Marcus came home at 3. I was sitting at the dining table with Ryan and the lawyers from Sterling and Associates, going over the final paperwork, when the front door opened. Lily was in her room upstairs. My parents were at the table. Ashley, Tyler. Marcus walked in, looked around at all of us, and his expression was completely unreadable.
This is unexpected.
He said.
Should I sit down?
Yes, I said. We need to talk. I slid the papers across the table.
What am I looking at?
A transfer of ownership. Sterling Solutions. Full transfer to me, effective immediately. Ryan and I will be running it together going forward. Marcus looked at the papers. He looked at Ryan. He looked at me. And then he picked up the pen. My father exhaled with relief.
It's better this way, son. Clean break. Everyone moves forward.
Marcus signed every line, set the pen down, and smiled. That smile.
I should probably mention something. Marcus said, completely calm.
What?
I sold Sterling Solutions this morning to Apex Industries. $10 million, cash transaction, completed at 9 a.m. Everything you just signed transfers ownership of a company that no longer exists.
Nobody moved.
The lawyers can confirm you can't transfer ownership of an asset that's already been sold. The paperwork is meaningless.
Ryan's phone rang. He looked at the screen. Answered. His face went the color of old paper.
What do you mean, what license board? What complaints? Who?
Marcus stood up from the table.
Ryan's been copying client files to his personal computer for about 3 months. I've been monitoring his access the whole time. The documentation went to the licensing board last week. They've been investigating since Tuesday.
Ryan's voice on the phone dropped to something I couldn't hear.
The thing about copying confidential client files, Marcus said pleasantly, is that it doesn't matter what you call it. Due diligence, backup, whatever. It's still a licensing violation.
He picked up his keys from the counter.
The house stays mine. It was mine before the marriage, it's documented. Lily's primary residence will be here. The divorce lawyers will be in touch about the visitation schedule.
He looked at me one last time. Not angry. Not hurt. Just finished.
I've known for about 3 months, he said. I was waiting to see how far you'd take it.
And he walked out. Chapter 5. After. The plan didn't survive the afternoon. Ryan's licensing investigation moved fast. The clients whose files he'd copied filed formal complaints. Within 6 weeks, he was looking at suspension. Nobody in the industry would touch him while the investigation was active. He moved back to his hometown to wait it out. We broke up before he left.
This isn't what I planned for,
he said, standing in my apartment doorway, the studio I'd rented after moving out of the house.
None of this was supposed to happen this way.
No, I said. It wasn't.
Christine.
Go, Ryan. He went. I stood in my studio apartment and looked around at the space that was supposed to be the beginning of something. Freedom, a new chapter. a company worth 15 million, and a partner who saw my potential. What I had was a part-time job at Nordstrom and supervised visits with my daughter twice a month. Marcus, meanwhile, had taken a consulting position with Apex Industries, the company he'd sold Sterling Solutions to. He was working directly with their executive team, not as an employee taking orders, as a strategic consultant. The difference matters. I know it matters because I spent 3 months telling Ryan that Marcus had no strategic vision. The man had been 3 steps ahead of us the entire time. I ran into him at Target a few months later. He was buying groceries. He looked, rested, like someone who'd put something down that had been heavy for a long time. We said hi. That was it. He didn't look like someone who'd lost. And I didn't look like someone who'd won, no matter what I'd been telling myself. Lily adjusts to things. Kids do. She's quieter with me than she used to be, which I tell myself is normal, which I tell myself will pass. I'm thinking about going back to school. MBA program, maybe. Start fresh, build something on my own terms. I've got 12 years of watching someone run a company. I know exactly what not to do. The irony of that isn't lost on me. That's where this story ends. Thank you for listening. If this one stayed with you, subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications. See you in the next one.